Uh, um, a ver, describe a time when you received organizational resistance to a project, and how did you handle it? That has happened to everybody, to every one of us.
Yeah, I think it's a very curious situation what happened to me. One of the key, and you could call it resistance, at a personal level, was one of the young guys that I trained in France '98, because he was too eager to be on his own. And when I look back at his personal stories, he was an only child, very, very bright, that he had a lot of facilities within his family to make things happen for him, and he wanted to prove it for himself. And I had to really argue with him so many times that he could not lead his area, which was specifically media management, on his own as soon as 3 or 4 months when we were working together. So I had to hold down his horses for about a year, and that was very stressful. But then when a year went out of the project and it was tested, so to say, in a small tournament, well, not a small tournament, but a smaller tournament than World Cup in '97, it was called Tournoi de France. I told them that the first 3 matches I would be handling fully everything and they would be watching. And of course, they all shouted that it wasn't fair. But after they saw what a revolution and what speed and what came over the event, then they did not complain anymore. And then I let them on their own the last remaining 3 matches. And after the event, they were really grateful at some point that I was protecting them, and then I let them go. And it was very curious because after a month or so, for some political issues, they wanted to make an audit in my area, which is weird, audit in accreditations. Of course, if I was going to sell the accreditations like in many big sporting events happens, but I didn't have anything to worry, and I was down here in Mexico on holiday. And those guys that they were fighting so much their independence for over a year, they called me the minute they sensed there was something weird going on, you know, with the other heads of the department. And they were so frightened, you know, that something was wrong, and then they would leave, and that I was going to leave. And I told them, look, don't worry, everything is under control. I just want to warn you that one single piece of paper out of place from the people who are auditing, we are not going to be working to replace all the files. You let them see everything they want to see. So it was very curious, because people that fight for their independence, then they really become appreciative at some point of you protecting them and guiding them. And then they were so loyal that at the end of the day, you know, they were like panicking when they saw these files being torn apart. And I was so easy, like, let them see anything. I don't have anything to hide, but I'm not going to lose any time refiling anything.
Now, I'm going to make another question. Maybe I'm going to read both questions, and you can give me one answer. Describe a time you made an extraordinary effort to meet a deadline. What were the results? And the second one is, what has been the most difficult pressure situation you have been in relating to work or for work, and what did you do to handle it? Maybe they're together, maybe not.
Well, I could put them together and I can put them apart, because being with an event experience, there are so many stories that you can just sit down on the floor and laugh if you want about it. But one deadline, so to say, that, I mean, I'm even laughing right now because I'm seeing the picture in my mind. I was working for a small tournament at that point of time, US Cup '92, with a great guy, Sunil Gulati, who was working on the soccer department on a volunteer basis. But his real job was being one of the top economists for the World Bank, handling, that was '92, Russia and some African country, I don't remember which one, but he had 2 key areas. And he was also, as a volunteer, handling this small tournament. And he called me and said, Cecilia, what are you doing? And I said, technically, I'm sitting down watching TV, Sunil. Well, can you come to Washington and stay here 6 months? Because I have to leave for Russia, and US Cup is coming, and you have to be me and handle the tournament for me while I'm gone. So I packed up, and in a week I was in Washington, D.C., and then I was sleeping on Sunil's living room, being briefed what was supposed to be the tournament about. And at one certain time I had a green light to put together an effort of people on accreditations project that had worked with me in Italy. And everything went well. And then a week prior to the event, the treasurer of the Soccer Federation, no names please, said no. So then we were like, okay, how can we make an accreditation project with no software, with no computers? Do you want me to make a Mickey Mouse accreditation? I mean, labels and laminate in Kinko's, and there you have it. I mean, so, you know, I was very blunt with Sunil and said, look, Sunil, I'm not going to put my reputation on the line like this, and let's take it from what we have. So, you know, we had a rough discussion, and he agreed, and it wasn't fair, you know, to have said this kind of means and then end up with zero, nothing. But we agreed we would have to do something about it, and without expecting, you know, professional results, but to do with the means that you had. And we ended up laminating the accreditation badges at midnight on the bus from Washington to Boston and so forth for the rest of the venues. I mean, I'm laughing because it was hilarious, you know, putting on the laminating machine on the lighter of the bus and using that as power of energy to laminate, and making the labels on the first Kinko's that was open at 7 in the morning or whatever. But we pulled it through. I mean, at some point, you know, being out in the open, and after saying, okay, this is not what I was hired for, but we are friends and we have to pull it together, so let's do it. Okay. That's as poor resources as can go.